Warning! This video contains rumors, speculation, strong opinions, and a Mad Max! We're going to talk about Avengers Endgame $300 million box office record. That's what it's going to do this weekend. And how it's the end, not only to the MCU, not only to the Avengers, the end of everything if you love movies. Now, what do I mean by that? You're going to have to stay tuned. But first, Warriors, smash the hell out of that like button for videos like this. Because it's not all gravy. It's good for this movie and for our characters that we love, but how it's bad for the movie industry. Let's talk about the box office and how Avengers Endgame, massive take, is a bad thing that the movie industry will never recover from. Now, this is an accomplishment on unprecedented levels, especially how more or less every movie in the MCU fits in, makes sense, and creates a complete arc and a very satisfying conclusion. And the only blemishes being a shoehorn movie and a shoehorn captain, and right at the end. And here's some minor spoilers for Endgame as an additional warning to my regular one. Just a little bit. She is the most irrelevant superhero character in the movie. The Infinity War end credit scene with the pager, her plot points could have been fulfilled any other way by any other character. Now that's the bad. And it's actually the good. She is an annoyance, and she's hard to overlook, except for me, and maybe for some of you viewers, but it's possibly good. She's irrelevant, but she's still in it, is the bad. So it's the conclusion of these great characters. Well, except for Thor and Hulk, which are now joke characters, thanks Thor Ragnarok, another overrated Disney movie. And the allusions to women power, which is in there. It's also relevant, quick. You may do an eye roll when you see it, but it's over quick. So it's still an accomplishment, and it's sad for many reasons. It's not just for the story, but because this experiment worked and how it can never happen again. You will never get this great group of actors all working towards a single goal with this much success. A movie universe this thought out and with the story as the agenda and not the other ones pushed in that's already started. This marks the end to the MCU, our favorite characters, in movies in general, blockbuster movies at least. Now, what do I mean by that? And if it succeeds on all these points, how on earth could it be a bad thing? Because Disney and the greed, and how, because this is a success, and knowing the movie industry, they will forever be chasing this white whale when there only was one, and there only will ever be one. Disney wants money fast and furiously. It's not a good thing that there's this many showings. Endgame is getting this box office, but what is it doing to other movies? If you have one amazing film that kills the competition to where they can't compete because of theater contracts and showings, they fail miserably and they won't even try. Remember in the past when you had a string of great blockbuster movies where you could see one great movie and then go back and see another one in the same weekend? That's over. What is your favorite year for blockbuster movies? And do you realize it's over? Even though this is a movie everyone can enjoy, the way Disney gets its box office buck has succeeded in ending competition at the box office. Look at what other showings there were. Not much. How can you compete with them when they get box office records at whatever the cost? when their theater contracts demand so many percentage of your theater screens, so many showings, a higher percentage of the box office take, and even more penalties if theater chains remove even a single screen when another movie is trying to get in. After the money slows down, they still can't remove one screen of any Disney blockbuster movie because of theater contracts. And that isn't even diving into the Shilling and Rotten Tomatoes. But just what Disney is doing to obtain those box office records that are not actually records. Take an inflation, examine how the theater contracts guarantee records because you can't see anything else, and double, no, maybe triple the amount of showings of their films compared to others. And that Disney weekend. Don't you know about Disney weekends? They start on Thursday. I wish the working man's work week looked like a Disney weekend. Not only are they destroying the present, they are wrecking the past with uncountable articles shilling for their success at the box office when the movies in the past didn't get a preview night to include in their box. Look at what they consider a weekend. Is that fair when you're talking about records? No, I don't think so. Look how many showings are front-loaded in their box office to include in the single-day showing on a Friday when it counts all those Thursday preview showings. Opening weekend used to start at 12:01 a.m. on a Friday. Now every Disney opening weekend looks like a holiday weekend. They include so many. So, Disney has bought the box office, killed the movie industry, and now they have the Fox properties. There isn't going to be one month of the year that isn't going to be dominated by a Disney movie with all the strings attached to them. And that's a bad thing. And another stipulation of showing a Disney movie, they demand promotions. You have to show what they want just to get their movie in the theater. You want to see how scary shit got during Endgame? Count how many Disney movie trailers were in front of Endgame before you got to see what you paid for. I didn't get to see the whole movie. I had to run to the restroom because there's 30 minutes of previews before it. I could have maybe lasted the 3 hours, but not 3 hours and 30 minutes of previews. I had like 6 or 7 trailers in my showing, and 6 of them, of the 7, were Disney. The only one that wasn't a Disney film was Secret Life of Pets 2. Disney Stockholm Syndrome is in full effect. When they captured the box office, they were also brainwashing the masses with 30 minutes of Disney ads that are demanded by the Mouse House. And what is worse, Disney is not done yet. Disney Plus, $6.99 a month? It's intended to destroy streaming services. Not only is it unrealistic for other companies to operate on that cost, it's going to cause consumer demand and unrealistic demand. Because they'll be operating on a loss just to crush the competition and start their bullying tactics in the streaming now. Because Disney's the only one that can. But more on that in another video. I really want to know your thoughts on this. Do you see the problems with the Disney box office records? And even though you might have liked Endgame, do you see how it's an endgame to cinema, to movies, and to an era? A new generation of actors isn't going to pull together towards a single goal. They're selfish, untalented, and don't have charisma. The new generation. Overhyped without any substance. Captain Marvel in this movie was proof of it. If she was leading the way, if this was the end of her arc, no one would care. Without all these other great actors in there, I really, really feel that those scenes where she is in were put in the lab. Those were the reshoots, except for the scene you see in the trailer when they're all when Thor says, "Oh, I like this one." That's the only one they filmed at when they filmed the rest of the movie, and then all her other scenes were put in at the end for reshoots. I really believe it, and she's irrelevant to the film. So tell me your thoughts on this one. I'm going to be busy for the next few days. I'm going to come at this YouTube game strong next week. So see you in the next one.